Good evening, Cohort 11. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to week 2 of Integral Theory, and specifically this week we're focused on measurement and assessment. The reason we're doing that is because that many of us were interested in it when we talked back in Prescott, and it gives us some real tools so that we can show growth and effectiveness of programs that we may implement in the future. We can take baselines of existing problems or opportunities, and we can prepare for additional responses that may be needed in the future. Last week, Scott focused on the 4 quadrants of integral theory. And so this week, we're going to move specifically into that lower right-hand quadrant, which is the arena of objectivity. And if you'll think back to the Megan and Dave week, this is kind of a Cotter-Cantor perspective, because John Cotter had us look at the mistakes people made, so the problems that we see in our community, the things that we want to fix, where Rosabeth Moss Cantor talked about the 6 things that we need to do, the ups, as I refer to them, and she was very focused on the positive. So one of the ways to conduct an assessment is also by doing an asset inventory, really looking at the benefits and the positives of the things that we do have. Assessments are as different as the problems or assets that they are trying to measure, and there are so many ways to do them. So this week, I think you're going to see a really nice segue with the community research session that we did in modes. But also, it's about putting some tools in your toolbox. And not that we'll know how to use all of them immediately, and not that we ever will use all of them, but that we know where to go find these tools when we do want to conduct an assessment, a baseline, or to see how much something has changed. In the required readings this week, there are some heavy-duty assessments. Not all of them are going to be of interest to everyone, but you can go through them and just get a general idea of the different types of things that are measured. One way that these are used quite often is in health assessments of communities, and that's certainly a way that many of you might be interested in. But it's also something that is often done to prepare for an impending disaster, or to prepare for a disaster that we hope never occurs. If a community or an entity has conducted a good assessment of their needs, then they really have a way to respond when something does occur in the future. And I think it's particularly applicable when we think about climate change. So enjoy these different assessments. The focus this week is really on digging into those and then doing the CBIL and applying what we've seen and learned in a very realistic setting, so that we can really start to see how we would put some of these metrics down on paper, measure them, and then later on measure again to see how much things have changed. Have a great week.